today is the launch of the Redback Business Skills webinar for 2013, and we're all quite excited and even more excited to have a familiar guest today. So before any further ado, I'd like to pass the microphone on to Bernadette Schwartz. She will be your presenter and she'll be interviewing our guest, Dipen Patel. So good afternoon, Bernadette.
Hi, Sarah. How are you going? Thank you so much for that welcome. And good afternoon and welcome to everybody. It's great to see so many on the call today. Over 230 people registered for this event, which I think makes it the second most popular event you've had, Sarah. So clearly, what that says is there's a need for this sort of information. I see lots of familiar names on the call, so hello to you and hello to those who've never met me before. As many of you will know, I do run the School of Copywriting and I specialise in training people in the art of writing words that sell. Now, I've invited my colleague, Dipen Patel, to speak with us today because it is my firm belief that mobile is changing the face of business or face of marketing. And that it's something that everybody in business, be it a large or a small business, really needs to know. Now, we've all used apps at some stage. If you've used Twitter, you've used an app. If you've checked your weather on your phone, you've used an app. But the objective of today is to help you understand the context as to why mobile is changing the face of search, why you need a mobile site, how apps are being used, what are they doing for businesses, and lastly, how you can get a free demonstration app for your business. I do believe that once you see what an app looks like for your business, you'll be able to get a better idea of the benefits that it can deliver. So Dipen will talk more about that at the end of the presentation, but I'd just like to assure you we're starting from scratch. We're not assuming any knowledge here, so we really are starting with a 101 guide. We've got about 55 minutes, so it's, as you can imagine, quite a detailed topic, but we're going to take a top-line approach today, and hopefully by the end of it, you'll know more about mobile than most and be able to speak with confidence about why apps are useful, which is really a good thing because the mobile revolution is here. Now, everyone gets introduced to technology via different pathways, and I think once you find the pathway that means something to you and your business, you'll get really excited about it. For me, that function that really made me sit up and take notice was what we call push messaging. And if you're looking for a new marketing tool that will get your message directly in front of your target market at virtually no cost, then this is it. So that for me was where I got the aha moment about mobile apps. There's nothing like it out there on the market, and we'll cover that in the presentation towards the end. So without further ado, let's get started. A bit of background on my guest, Dipen. Dipen has an MBA in finance. He has a bachelor's degree in computer technology. He's a certified systems engineer for Microsoft, and he's a Six Sigma black belt, for those of you who are familiar with the GE system. In terms of his background, he's worked with all the major tier 1 companies like NAB, ANZ, Telstra and Origin. And as a business and systems analyst, what he did was he was sort of the technology translator. So when the marketing department wanted to have a new initiative, he would be the person that would go to the technology department and try and translate it for them and vice versa. So what appeals to me about Dipen's expertise is he's very good at taking complex concepts and bringing them down to the layperson's terms. So that's what I found really useful talking to Dipen about apps. So before we launch into what the apps are and what they can do, Dipen, I think it's important to understand the context of this mobile revolution. What is actually happening that's caused the growth of this industry? Welcome to the call.
Hi, Bernadette, and hello to everybody out there. Thank you so much for having me today. You aptly mentioned a key word there a little while ago. We are in what is known as the mobile revolution, and the uptake of mobile phones is unprecedentedly grown over the last couple of years. This particular slide essentially shows how quickly the mobile industry has grown, and in particularly just taking iPhones as an example, we've seen the iPhone actually expanding exponentially from 2007 and 2011, and ever since the iPhone was introduced, it's becoming, everybody that we know has an iPhone or knows of iPhone. So with the smartphone that was first introduced by Apple, the uptake of smartphones have really taken over in the last couple of years. So in essence, yes, we are in the mobile revolution. The mobile industry has exploded. Everybody that you and I know have a mobile phone with them. We just cannot do without it. They have become an integral part of our day-to-day living.
So what you're saying there, Dithan, is that because we have these mobile phones, we're out on the road, we're in our cars, we're travelling, and we're constantly searching using mobile sites or using the mobile phone to access sites. Some of them are mobile, some are not. So maybe you can talk us through the players in the market. We all hear about Android and iOS and Samsung and Nokia, Apple and Google Play and App Store. Tell us a little bit about the players and how this actually, why this matters to people who are thinking about developing a mobile site or a mobile app.
Absolutely, absolutely, and a very valid question here, Bernadette, because there are so many different types of phones. But to put it very simply, just as we are aware and we know, the computers, we have the Windows operating system, or we have the Apple Mac, which use the iOS or the Apple operating system. In a very similar way, we have phones which are using the operating systems by Apple, which is the iOS, or operating systems by Google, which are known as Android. Now, these two were the iPhone, in fact, was the first one into the market, and hence gained a lot of popularity. First market movers, I guess, in one way. Google got onto the bandwagon, and with their Android operating phones. So examples are Samsung that have come out, Samsung S3, Samsung Galaxies, and the likes there. But prior to that, we had still a lot of phones. The Nokias had a majority market prior to iPhone. The Blackberries also have had a majority market, and they used their own operating system. Nokia used what was known as the Symbian operating system, and all applications were developed on that. Nokia kind of lost out on the market once Apple and Android came in. And what Nokia has done now, in fact, has partnered with Microsoft to use the Windows operating system. So you'll be hearing these Windows phones quite often on TV ads and coming out in the market. So the major players, essentially, in what you'll see today are the Android phones or the Android operating systems, or the iOS operating systems, which are the iPhone. The stats on the screens actually show you, over 500 million Android phones have been activated, over 300 million iPhones have been activated. Now, these stats have all been obtained from Google and Yahoo conferences held sometime last year. And these numbers obviously have grown this year. So we've got a huge plethora or a huge number of phones out there, all having different kind of operating systems. So the key leaders in the market at this point in time, and I guess for Australia as well, are the Android and the iPhone. So in short, from a business perspective, one would say 90% or 93% of your clients would be having either an Android or an iPhone. Windows Phone is trying to flow in via Nokia. BlackBerry is just coming in, but they still hold about less than 10% of the market.
Okay, so in terms of this mobile revolution that everyone's talking about, let's start chunking up. What is the mobile website, and how is that different to just your standard website that we see on our PC every day? What is the difference between the two?
Oh, excellent. Look, a simple example, and I guess most of us have actually gone through this. We type in a web address or a web URL on our PCs, and we see a nice-looking website with all content easily visible, and we can reach that content by just moving the mouse to the left or the right of the screen. It's easily accessible. That's how traditionally most websites have been developed. Now, you try to type in the same URL on your web browser, on your mobile browser, and suddenly you will see the same site appearing, but in order to access all the content, you've either got to pinch the screen, expand it, scroll to the right, scroll to the left, move effectively all over to get to that content. Now, what that means is that particular website is not compatible to the real estate for mobile devices. Now, by real estate, I'll go a little bit deeper. When mobile websites are developed, essentially, and depends on the coding language that they're using to develop, most mobile websites actually are created to fit in the real estate of standard screens, standard monitors, standard laptop screens. But when viewed on mobile devices, these websites do not automatically adjust themselves to fit the real estate of the mobile screens or mobile devices. We've got the devices which are smaller screens, laptop screens, which are quite smaller than the laptop or traditional computer screens. So a clear example, you see The Age, type in The Age on a computer, beautiful site comes up, you type in theage.com, the same URL, nothing different, but you'll see it beautifully arranged and very accessible. The difference between a non-mobile compatible website and a compatible website is the mobile compatible website, you should be able to access your data or your information 1-2 touch clicks away, 1 or 2, 3 max, and you should reach your information away. So in fact, we have 95% of smartphone users who actually use the mobile just to look for information, right? And we have over 61% of people who actually react to a site found on the site. Now, what this statistics actually in front of you tell us is if your business is not really found on the mobile, then you've kind of lost out. Your business is actually going off to competitors. In fact, there is a statistics out there from the Australian Bureau of Statistics saying that there is over 90% of Australian businesses that have a web presence, but that web presence, but rather do not have a mobile presence or do not have mobile compatible websites, right? So that is really the statistics that are out there currently.
So what you're saying here, Dipin, is that the trend is that if you want to be found and used, you want your site to be found and used easily while people are on the move, then you should adapt it to becoming a mobile site. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Absolutely right. Absolutely
okay.
Right.
I guess the best example I know is, and I'm sure you've all used, your banking app. So I use the CBA, the Commonwealth Banks app. I just used it yesterday for the first time. It's been on my phone, but I've never used it. I tend to go to the URL for some reason. Anyway, I used the app. And I was really amazed at just the speed at which I could do my transaction compared to just doing it on my phone normally. So it must have cut out a good, 5 different keystrokes, and not to mention I could find everything that I needed. So, it just is a speed, isn't it, that's important that people want it now. If you have to start pinching and expanding and, sliding things across, it's just going to make the experience less positive.
Absolutely right, Bernadette. It's all about user experience. Each one of us wants to have a better user experience. Why would I actually spend time on a website, on a mobile website or mobile content that I can't read, or that I have to spend time in really drilling down to the information that I want?
Yeah.
Right? We are really time poor in the things that we do today.
Yeah.
And the statistics in front of you actually show that 57% of people will not actually recommend a business with a bad mobile site. And what would they do? They'd obviously walk to your competitor and somebody who's got a better mobile website or a mobile experience, so to speak. What you did just mention about the Commonwealth Bank, and that is so apt here. It's the experience of carrying out a certain need with ease, right? Mm. You can do the same thing on the website, and if you're doing it on the website, you're obviously sitting on a computer which has a larger screen. The experience is good there, but it's good on a larger screen, right? So the experience should be translated, right, onto a smaller screen, and for that, the website needs to adjust itself automatically. Right? So this is where mobile presence is very, very important, and how a mobile presence should be presented to the consumer.
Yeah. So let's chunk down again. We've talked about the difference between a normal website and a mobile website. Let's now talk about the difference between a mobile site and a mobile app. Can you point out the differences here, Stephen?
Yes. So again, a lot of confusion there. There are, what is a mobile website and what is a mobile app? Now think of this as think of a mobile website as just a readjusted internet website, right? So whatever content that you have on the internet and which is viewable on your normal PC or laptop screen, that is adjusted or reframed and repositioned to fit into any mobile device. That's just what a mobile website is. It's just a sort of a replica of your internet site. A mobile app, on the other end, right, is a sort of a program, is a software piece of code, right, that actually sits on your phone and that actually calls the phone and uses some of the inherent functionalities that are of the phone. Now, some of the inherent functionalities, for example, would be using the camera function, or using the phone is a phone. So obviously, being able to make a call, using the GPS functionality. Most phones have GPS functionality. So the app actually, a mobile app actually calls upon a lot of inherent phone functionality. Now, when it does use these inherent phone functionalities, it actually provided the consumer a better user experience. Now, the stats that are in front of you actually prove that. Earlier on, when mobile phones did come out and people could browse on their mobile phones, the statistics say that people used to spend an average of 64 minutes browsing, mobile web browsing, and about 43 minutes on a mobile app. Now, as time went along, we've seen now that the average person now spends about 94 minutes on an application and a lesser amount of time on a mobile website. Now, the reason being that is mobile apps actually give you a better experience, a better consumer and a user experience. And because apps are developed specifically to interact with some of the hardware functionalities of mobile phones. So hopefully that kind of provides the audience clarity on mobile websites, which cannot really integrate with some of the functionalities of the phone, and mobile apps, which really integrate with some of the functionalities of the phone.
Good. And I've just had a comment here, which some of you might have read, but Tracy L said, that information has now transformed my understanding of apps. I just downloaded my NAB app while on the webinar, and it is so much easier. Thanks. So fantastic. We've transformed someone's experience already. Thanks for sharing, Tracy. I appreciate it. So let's talk about, what we're saying there is that the trend for browsing apps versus going to a website is going to increase. So we are beholden in some ways then to provide content to our customers via the mobile device, which is really easy to find. It's kind of snack-sized, if you like, or it's really condensed so that we don't have to look at everything. We might just see 5 top things. It might be contact us or buy or events or, location. Is that what you're saying, Divin, that we're going to condense a big site down into just a couple of key functionalities to start with?
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess the consumer today knows what they're looking for, right, and what they want, right? And that's the reason, they do not really want to waste a lot of time in looking at a lot of other places. What mobile apps essentially do is actually provide you that feature of getting you all the information in one particular location.
Yeah, and I guess when people are looking for an app developer, the best thing to be looking out for is that you get both done. You start with a mobile website and then you get your mobile app. But I guess what I've been learning since I've met you, Dipin, is that if you do them both at the same time, it's cheaper and it's more effective. Is that correct?
Yes, in a sense, it is a lot cheaper and a lot better to do. But why do we specify mobile apps and mobile websites? And going back to the earlier statistics in the earlier slides, remember your market today, as it stands, right? 90% of your market, 92% of your market is held by 2 major companies, phone companies, iPhone or Android, right? That's where your major phone market is. The other 7% is held by the other market, where Windows is part of it. BlackBerry is just coming in. So as a business, right, what would you be looking at? You'd be looking at attacking or reaching out to those customers that have that 95% of the market. And hence, developing apps for those platforms would be a sound decision, right? But does it mean you ignore the other 7 or 8%? No. The other 7 or 8% can actually view your business services and products via a mobile compatible website. So it's not an app on the other phone, but it's a mobile compatible website.
Okay, got it. Great.
So in essence, from a business point of view, you can offer your services and products across the whole range of phones that are available out there. Majority as apps, minority as mobile pages. Now, who knows? Tomorrow, the Windows market might grow. Windows phones may take over. Then you have a lot of Windows development going on, right? And it is catching up. Windows apps are coming up, and a lot of developers are developing applications for Windows phones. But the reality is that iPhone and Android do have the major market.
Okay. So before we move on and getting into some of the nitty-gritty and some examples of apps and their functionality, I think it'd be a good moment to actually ask the audience here, and Sarah, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the first poll, and that is, do you have a mobile site yet? It's basically a yes or a no answer. So Sarah's going to bring that up, and if you could just tick the box, just poll number 1. And if you could say yes or no, and then what that'll show everybody, including Dipin and I, is really just the state of the market. You know, who's already working with mobile and who isn't. I love this technology, Sarah. This is a new platform that Redback are using, and it's live, it's real time, it's really fantastic. I encourage anyone who's thinking of webinars to look at Redback. They really do they're cutting edge. We haven't used half of the functionality on this webinar today that is there, but if you talk to Sarah, she'll show you what's possible. So what are we looking at here, Sarah? Are we nearly done?
Yes, okay, so we can see some responses in the participant box, but we'll stop that poll, and we can see 81% of people do not have a mobile site.
Okay, good. Interesting. I suspect, I have no grounds for saying this, but I suspect in probably a couple of years' time, that figure will probably be reversed. What do you think, Dipin?
Sorry, I think it is a reverse. I think, was it 80% do not have a mobile website?
That's right.
That was correct.
So yes, look, I think it's pretty much in line with what the ABS statistics kind of show.
Yeah.
There are a huge number of companies out there that have a mobile presence that do believe generate a lot of income or sell their products off the web, but have really not jumped onto the mobile wave. And again, referring back to the statistics earlier, they clearly prove that the consumer is going mobile.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense for businesses now to also have a mobile presence.
Yeah, they're missing out. Great. Well, let's move right into the nitty-gritty, which I know is where people are pretty keen to get some hands-on knowledge about the app. So let's have a look at just one of the key functionalities, and this is really basic, and we'll build up into the complexity of what you can do from a marketing perspective. But Dipin, let's look at one of the key functionalities of an app, which is basically information, giving people information in a way that they want to get it.
Absolutely. I guess why would a business or an organization want to have an app out there? One of the key functionalities that obviously an app should have is the capability to display information of the services and products in the neatest and tidiest manner as possible. Again, I will keep on referring to one-touch, two-touch button or click, and they should be able to access that information. Examples, restaurant menus, takeaway menus, cards, their locations. So, I want to find out where this particular organization is or where this restaurant is. One-touch button, and the address should come up. I really don't know where the address is. Another one-touch button, and the GPS system should kick in and actually tell me how to get from to the location from where I am. So these are some of the information that apps can display. There are contact numbers. Again, one touch and it automatically calls up the number, the designated number. You can have your calendar of events there. on your app there. And I think on this point, I'd just like to elaborate a little bit more. Events is one of the key things here. Again, possibly differentiating between mobile websites and mobile applications. You have an event calendar on a mobile website. So you look at the events, you know a certain function. For example, the Glen Eira Council has an event on the 22nd of February. It's the Traders Day. Everybody's welcome. As a consumer, I remember the date. Either I have to write it down on a separate document or a diary, or record it on a separate piece of tool. Mobile app, on the other hand, if you've got that event in a mobile app, what happens is the moment you click on that event and show your interest in attending the event or being notified of the event, the mobile app is actually integrated with the clock and the calendar that is inbuilt into your mobile phone. And on the day that the event occurs, it automatically reminds you. So it's kind of integrated into the phone. So the app here is integrated into some of the functionalities of the phone. So this is where this information functionalities become really, really useful, for the end user. Imagine being notified of this event when they're about to occur.
I guess the key point here, Dithan, is that you wouldn't get that functionality if you just looked at a mobile website for the Glen Eira Council.
Yeah, you would have to remember it. So the onus is going to be the consumer to remember it, record it, all that. On the other hand, on the app side, the app will remind you.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, let's move on and talk about social networking and how apps can link in with your social networks. What's the link between the two, Dithan?
We all know Facebook, we all know Twitter, and I think 90%, if not all, would probably have a Facebook app or a Twitter app on their phone, right? In the context of a business and having integration of these two apps into your app provides a lot more value to the business, because you have this whole information, this whole social network embedded within your own container, within your own branding, within your own so-called app, right? Now that gives any business a real chance to communicate one-on-one or within the social network and understand what the following is and what their consumers are talking about, right? So the app and linking it into social networks and putting these functionalities within an app, right, can really, really increase, the social inclusiveness of consumers and members with their organization.
You mentioned earlier offline, Dithan, that just using a pizza shop as an example, and if they're offering half price pizzas to anyone who has downloaded the app, and we'll get more into that detail, but if I'm getting half-price pizzas on the way home on the train and my girlfriend's sitting next to me, she says, well, how are you getting that? How are you getting those notifications? You can actually share the app with someone via Twitter just by clicking on one of these buttons. So I guess it makes it really easy to share the app and so that everybody can get access to the functionality and the benefits of having the app.
Absolutely. The only way, I guess, how does one get an app on their phone, right? The apps are essentially loaded onto stores, right? And the most popular ones that we know of are iTunes or Google Play, right, for these two phones. So you need to go down to the stores, search for the app, and then download it onto your phone. This is one mechanism where, if you don't have the app name or don't know where to go on iTunes or Google Play, we can merely, by the click of a button, send you a link, and all you need to do is, click on the link, and lo and behold, the app will be downloaded.
Amazing. So let's move on. There's a couple of questions coming through, which if we don't have time to answer directly, we'll definitely cover them off in an FAQ and send that to you. But I just want to move on to the stuff where, again, gets really interesting. I think it's getting more interesting as we go in terms of how businesses can use this. But let's talk about loyalty coupons and QR codes and all these acronyms that maybe are foreign. But I'll just quickly share a story where I came across QR codes, and we've been seeing them around for years. Quite frankly, I thought they were dying. I thought that was just a device that kind of never got never got off the ground. How wrong was I? But my son and I, this was a year ago, he was 5 at the time, at the fish and chip shop after school because he didn't have enough salt and fat in his diet. So I thought I would contribute to that. And I'm drinking my Coke Zero and my fish and chips. And he said, Mummy, look what I did today. And he brought out this piece of paper and it had this QR code stuck onto this piece of paper. It was kind of raggedy. And I said, oh, that's nice, dear. What's that? I said, oh, yeah, what are you doing with it? He says, well, we need to download the QR reader so we can access the code. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, I just need your phone and I need to download the QR reader from the App Store. I said, oh, hang on a sec. He says, no, trust me, it's going to be really good. I said, okay. So gave him my phone. We went to the App Store. We looked for QR reader, which was free, as he said. Everything he said was true. 5, get that, it's 5. We download it. We scan the QR code that he's created at school, and instantly it brings up a video of his teacher at the school that day delivering a lesson, and I can see all the boys in the class. And to me, that was just the immediate aha moment of QR codes for a start, but also how quick it was to get this information. And ever since then, wherever we see a QR code, he jumps on my phone and he scans it, and we check out what's behind there. It's quite interesting and quite good fun. And what I've noticed over the year that I've been playing with QR codes is that a lot of companies don't use it as well as they could. And I guess that's where I throw to you, Distin, and say, what are QR codes, technically, loyalty coupons, and how can people use them to promote their business?
Right. Yeah. So QR codes actually stand for quick response codes. And quick response codes are actually nothing but two-dimensional barcodes. Now we all have seen the single lines which we call as barcodes. The inherent disadvantage barcodes had was they store limited pieces of information, right? Which, when scanners scan, can only do limited functionalities. QR codes are two-dimensional, as I mentioned, and a lot more can be done with QR codes. I'll give you an example. Now, you mentioned a QR reader, right? Now, a QR reader is nothing but an app, right, which you can download free from any of the stores. It's a mobile app which integrates with the camera function of your phone. The camera is a hardware built-in device or piece of hardware that is embedded into your phone. So when the app is launched, your QR reader is launched, it calls upon the camera function, and the camera function switches on, and it takes or scans the picture of the QR code or the dots that you see. The app then kind of deciphers it and converts what these codes mean. Now, these codes can mean a lot of things, right? And it depends on the business. You can have this code to mean the moment somebody scans it, dial a number, or the moment somebody scans it, initiate their SMS function. The moment somebody scans it, take them to a site where there's a video playing. The moment somebody scans this, open up a form, right? So the applications for a QR code are now really wide. We've seen a lot of products in the supermarkets coming up. A lot of product companies have to display, the contents and the health benefits or otherwise for the ingredients. Now, because the space on the product is pretty small, what they do is they'll put a QR code there. And for example, if it's a food mix that you're buying, and they have a QR code there, you'd open up your QR reader, scan the QR code, and it would automatically take you a site where there's a whole bunch of recipes on how you could use this mixer, right? So that is really a good consumer experience and giving you a lot more information. So QR codes can be used in a wide variety of ways. But within apps, so you can now integrate this within your applications. So again, an example. Imagine you have an app that has a QR reader built in. And imagine you're walking, and I'll kind of allude also to a couple of things here, loyalty coupons. We all know what loyalty coupons are. These are the, buy 9 coffees and get the 10th one free. And what we have there is we have, once we finish our 9th coffee, we present a card to the person on the counter and they punch the 10th hole and they say, that's your free coffee. Now, how many times have we, forgotten our cards? Or how many times have we got multiple cards from your favorite coffee shop? And how many times have we forgotten cards? So what would happen is if you had a loyalty coupon on your app, and role-playing this, imagine you finished your coffee, you just whip up your app, switch on your app, and there is a QR code next to the counter near the till, and once you finish paying, you just scan the QR code and it automatically stamps your card, right? No need of a physical card. The application automatically stamps your card, and the moment you finish your 10th card, it comes up with a new coupon, and it displays the offer. So this is where QR code can really be integrated into applications. The other way that coupons can come up in applications is GPS coupons. As I said, mobile applications use inherent functionality. GPS is one of the inherent functionalities that mobile phones can use. So what would be, the scenario is if a business says that if every time you come into my location, or if you come into my location and the 10th time you come in or the 10th time you visit me, I will give you a free gift. So every time you walk into a location, the application recognizes the GPS address and stamps one box. The next time you come in, it stamps one box, right? And the 10th time you come in, automatically a banner pops up. Congratulations, you visited us 10 times. In order to reward you, please show this offer, and you can grab this prize.
So Dipin, can I just jump in here and add that you can, put that across the whole retail sector in terms of hairdressing salons and beauty salons and personal trainers and gyms and all sorts of institutions who rely on, people walking past. The other thing that I thought was interesting this morning, you attended a seminar and you mentioned to me at the end of the seminar, they didn't give out a paper survey, they gave you a QR code. Can you maybe just share your story with us?
Absolutely. So there's a business seminar that I was attending this morning, and normally after every seminar, obviously feedback is very, very important for the organizers. And in normal cases, you'd be handed out, fill in the form, and you'd fill in the form and you'd hand it out to the person there. They'd collect the forms, and then on the back end, in a day or two, they'd have to enter the data somewhere. What happens here is they had a QR code, and they said, look, after the seminar, just scan this QR code. And I scanned the QR code, and a form popped up on my mobile. It was a mobile compatible form, right? And all I had to do is type in my details or fill in the form electronically, right? And submit the form electronically. The data now went to their backend system, so they have the data now in the electronic form, so no paper at all, right? It's really a pleasant experience.
The other thing that we've seen at festivals and events is people wandering around with T-shirts with QR codes printed on the T-shirt, which says that you can print a QR code on pretty much anything. And all you have to do is scan the person. So it's a PR thing. It's like, scan me, and get a free download of the song that you're now hearing, So there's numerous ways in which you can activate QR codes, like go to the zoo and there's a QR code near the lion, and you click on that or you scan it and it tells you all about the lion and where it's from. So it's a really quick way of getting information. But Dipin, let's move on to talk about live updating and taking control over your content, because I'll just share an example that happened to me last year, and I thought, if only they had an app, and that's my son's school, and there was a big camp on. It was a day trip. It was to look at the camp. It wasn't to stay overnight, but it was to, orientation. It was 3 hours away from Melbourne. And on the morning of, it was raining and the camp had been cancelled, and the poor teacher, Russell, who I'll never forget, had to ring every parent, we're talking hundreds of parents, had to be contacted that morning to be told that the camp was cancelled. And people had already left, people had gone the night before. If you were lucky enough to get the call or the text, you were saved the 3-hour drive. But I couldn't help thinking, what a great situation to have an app, when there's dynamic content. It's changing regularly. Think about personal trainers. I've got a personal trainer, and I rock up and it's raining. It's like, well, are we outdoors today or are we going to the gym? Where are we? And these things happen very quickly. Soccer club games, tennis games, reliant on the weather, So talk us through, Dipin, how the organisations who've got live dynamic content that changes quickly can use an app.
Exactly. And what the examples that you give are so apt here. Now, mobile technology and mobile apps basically are all based on cloud computing and cloud technology. What that means is that the moment you update or add or change any content on your app, that change is reflected straight away onto the app holder's app. And many of you might have seen, whenever, if you've got apps downloaded on your phone, you'll have some number or some indication on that particular app indicating that that app has some update. And the moment you open that app, the update will automatically download, and you'll have the latest content on your phone. So because the mobile device is the single device that we almost have with us almost everywhere, what better way to get the latest content on your app, right? So live updating here is really, really very, very key to mobile applications. Businesses can dynamically update the content. Content could be events, coupons. I've got, for example, a bakery. We've baked excessive bread today for some reason. I could make a live update on my app saying there's a special for just between 3 and 4. Come and grab the bread at half price. So that would be really, really beneficial to the bakery and, of course, to the consumer. So essentially, you can actually update everything within an app on real time.
And I guess the question people might have in their minds, Dipin, is, well, surely we can send an email to people. Surely we can send a text. Surely they can check the website if things are changing. But what are the negatives of that?
Okay. You can send an email. I'll answer those questions in the 3 points that you picked up. Email. Now, I guess the average person today gets 30 plus, 40 plus emails a day, right? So I get a mail from Bernadette. Okay, I'm going to deal with it. I know I've got to read it, but I've got some other things to do. So I'm going to put it on a to-do list, and I'll get to it at the end of the day. I forget to get to it at the end of the day, and tomorrow I get 30, 40 more mails. So your mail has actually gone down my queue, right? And pretty soon, if I do get the chance to get to your mail, the data is outdated, right? So emails have that inherent problem. We are just getting bombarded with lots of SMS. Many phone companies give you free SMS plans, but in the end, when you're trying to reach out a huge mass, they will cost you, right? So every SMS will cost you, right? And surveys for businesses, especially, when you're sending to your customer base, you're looking at over $200 plus, $300, sometimes running up to $1,000 just to send SMSs out. With SMSs, you've got to make sure you've got the right numbers in your database. They are validated numbers in the database, and you've got to make sure they're always updated. You have a wrong number, you have the SMS going to the wrong person. I keep on getting a SMS message for an appointment in Perth. I'm based in Melbourne, and it keeps on telling me you have an appointment with the dentist. And I'm saying, where is this coming from, right? So SMS, that's the inherent problem. Website, you have to go to the website. It is consumer driven, right? You have to take the ownership, and you have to go to the website to make sure that you get the information, right? Whereas with live updating, the information is brought to you.
Dipin, there's quite a few questions coming through, which some of them are a bit detailed, and we can definitely cover them offline. But there's one that's come through that is someone saying, how many apps is too many apps to download? Where do we draw the line? And I guess I can just share a consumer's point of view, and that's from Andrea T. Thanks, Andrea, for the question. I was thinking, the only apps I would download are the ones I really need. Like my son's school, my gym, my personal trainer. So I guess the difference that we're experiencing now with the mobile technology is we're pulling in the information we want. We're blocking actively things we don't, but we're saying, I want that app. I want the app from my pizza joint. I want the app from my beautician. I want the app from here. So we're willingly bringing them in. Is that along the lines that you'd be thinking, Dipin?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And going back to basic marketing, I guess 101. If I've joined one gym, right, and I'm a member of a gym and I'm going there regularly, if I'm given good customer service and they've taken care of me, they remember me and they give me bits of information and every now and then, I probably will not change the gym. If I see another gym down the road and I decide to move to the gym and I don't get a call back from my previous gym, they never really had a good communications with the existing customer. Now, with mobile apps, that's what you do. You download the app that your favorite restaurant app. only, and only make sure that that's the only one there. You just download your gym's app. You wouldn't want to download somebody else's app out there. So what I'm trying to get at here is the mobile market is a very new market, and we know it's a big wave that's hitting us. It's the first mover market, right? So whoever's first in the market will really capture the market share, in a sense. I wouldn't want to have 2 gym apps, or I wouldn't want to have 2 restaurant apps on my phone.
Yeah, you're right. I think just using the pizza one because it's so simple, or the coffee shop, it's so simple, is you're only going to choose a few. You know, you want your little community and you know who they are, and you're going to download those apps. And let's move on to the push notifications. There's been a couple of questions about notifications and do you have to turn them on, etc. So let's actually take that first step and say, what is a push notification? Because that was the thing that really gave me the aha moment. So maybe you can expand on that, Dipin.
Push notification is, and in my view, and I think that's where the aha moment also comes in, is one of the reasons why businesses should have an app. Push notifications are not possible at this point in time in mobile website technology, right? But with mobile apps, this is where businesses can really, really get in touch with their customers. I'll role play this pizza thing. I'm on my way home back from work, 6:30 in the evening, still going to have dinner prepared, get the kids into bed, have a lot of things, by the end of the day. I suddenly get a push message on my phone saying, hey, pizza's at half price, only between 7 and 7:30. Order now. I got to think, hey, half price pizza, this is a great deal. I do not need to go home and cook, and this is going to save me time. Open the app, order the pizza right now. By the time I'm off the train, go to my favorite pizza shop. The pizza is piping hot, ready for me to take home. Right? Push notifications, memberships, right? There's an event occurring within an organization. You want to let them know that the event timing has changed or the event has been postponed for some reason or the other. Traditionally, you would have the organizers either sending out mails or SMSs or picking up the phone and personally calling up everybody. Here, push message, one message, it goes out to all the app holders and you are notified. Now remember, the notification actually comes up either as a pop-up screen, depends on the phone. On iPhones, it pops up as a screen. And again, this is configurable by the user, or as an icon that appears on the top left-hand corner of your mobile. So the moment you look at your mobile, you know there is a notification that comes in. So what better way to really communicate one-on-one to your customers and have them take action when you would like them to take action? So push notification, I think, is really the winner, where it takes the mobile app, right in front, and where businesses should really, I believe, capitalize on this capability to really reach out to their customers and really provide them with a better service.
Yeah. And Dipin, as we've been speaking, there's a lot of questions coming through, which is fantastic. It's been very interactive. Obviously, we can't cover them all in the 55 minutes we have together, but I encourage everyone, if you've got any questions, detailed or top line, put them in here, and Dipin and I will create an FAQ for you. We'll answer some of the questions before we leave this afternoon, but please put them through, and that will give us an indication of what needs answering for you, so that we can help you with some information. So let's move on to, we've talked about a number of functionalities, but let's talk about the general functionality that is also available to people looking to build an app.
Sure, Bernadette. So like I mentioned, you can have a shopping cart. The pizza example was a good example. I can straight away order the pizza on my app on my way home because I've got a notification, or I've got a special notification that's come in saying, you've got the special, you can only order now. When I can use the shopping cart functionality, we can have a mailing list functionality. Ask people to join your mailing list. There is a fan wall functionality which we have, and this is a real neat functionality in the sense that it's more or less like Facebook, but if I may call it, the Facebook for all your app holders. So you can have all your app holders actually communicate and share their experiences. or share their thoughts just within your app. So you can have people talking about a lot of stuff and get communication going on just within the app, which is visible to everybody. And then remember, a lot of business is now about social inclusiveness. You want your customers to be really part of your business. That's how you're kind of building up brand loyalty or customer loyalty rather.
Yep.
You can have a lot of information, as I mentioned, view the map, call us, an event calendar.
Dipin, if I can just jump in, there's been a question about, not-for-profits and associations. Can you maybe bring up the example of the app you created for the union and what you did for them? And just talk us through that.
Absolutely. We've created a couple of apps for unions, the communication workers unions, the AMWU, and primarily what they use for the union for their organization is really to let out information as it comes by. When they're talking or negotiating some agreements, they'd like to have the members updated instantaneously. So they pass on a message saying, hey, check this functionality to read more, but this is the update. They're having a rally somewhere. They have it on the event calendar. In case the rally changes, right, they can straight away send out notifications. You can collect donations on your app, right? So these is for non-governmental organizations. For churches, collect your donations. You could have, prayer of the day or send a prayer of the day, and that could be there. So a lot of different ways that an app can be used, to really interact with the end user.
And let's talk, Dipin, about advertising. And again, we've only got a few minutes left, but I think for me, if I was an app owner and I knew that, let's take the schools example because it's easy to get your head around, or even an associations one, your union, and you knew people were coming to your app every week to check locations or scores, if it was a game or video, whatever it is. If you knew people were coming regularly, that is a captive audience that you've got. So the opportunity to place ads above the app, on the screen, even just a little banner, is huge. And, you can target the advertising for the parents, so it's incredibly targeted because you know exactly who's coming to your app. So for those organisations looking to generate profit from apps, and you've got a big database, lots of people are going to want your app, you should really look into, and Dipin can help you with this, is look into creating an advertising program so people are, able to get in front of your database and you can make money from that. Again, we really just have to touch on that, but that's a huge opportunity, not to mention councils, and larger organisations. So let's move on because we're really coming to the end. And thank you for all the questions. They're fantastic, and we will answer those. And but we just have to wrap up very shortly. Now, Dipin, there's been a lot of questions about pricing. What will it cost to get them developed for their organisation? And you've created, this is your package, isn't it? And maybe you can talk us through what you're offering.
This is our package. For $2,500, you get an Android app, an iPad, iPhone app, and you get an HTML5. Now, HTML5 actually refers to a mobile web page, right? So we're actually covering the whole range of phones out there, both iPhone, Android, and the non-iPhone and non-Android phones there. Now, why? So the additional cost, apart from the $2,500 for development of the mobile app, there is a one-time training fee, and this training fee essentially is to train you on the back end of the app so that you can control your app, so that you can update your app whenever you want, you can send out push notifications whenever you want, you can change colors, you can design your app on your own. So that's what the training is for. Then there is this component of a hosting fee. Now the hosting fee is basically hosting of these applications in the cloud, number one. The other component of this hosting fee is that we ensure that your app is 99.9% live. We all know that Apple upgrades occur, Android upgrades occur. So we ensure that your app is compatible with all the platform upgrades that occur, right? So again, this pricing is not for web apps. This is native apps. People confuse mobile apps, which are known as web apps, right? Also, the other name is web app because it's just a web page converted with a link and made to look like an app. So this is actually for a native app. with the 149, sorry, with the 149 moving back into that, what we also provide is lifetime access to any new functionalities that we develop. I'll give you a recent example. We made one for the union, and soon after we developed the app and we launched the app, we developed a functionality to help people find their cars in a car park. And we normally then ask all our clients is, hey, would you like to have this application, this functionality for your members? And they said, yep, we love this and our members will love it. So what we did is we gave them the functionality at no cost. So the hosting fee actually covers all of that. So that's kind of the cost structure that we have.
Yeah, so Dipen, one of the questions is, this includes a mobile website as well as a mobile app, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So a mobile web page and a native mobile application.
Okay, good. All right, so I mentioned early on at the very beginning that you're prepared to give people a free demonstration app to actually build it for them. So to access that offer, and I guess the benefit of doing that is you can see what it's going to be like, you know, and I think once you see something and you can press it and touch it and, you know, play with it, you're going to get an understanding of what its capabilities are, and Dipen's prepared to do that. What he asks is that if you do want that, just tick the box in the exit survey and pay a 10% deposit just to, you know, to prove your intent, I guess, because he doesn't really want to be creating apps for those who aren't interested. But if you're really serious, he would be delighted to create an app for you so you can see what its potentiality is. And just to do that, you can just go to the exit survey and tick that box. Yes, please let me know a bit more about that, and Dipen will be in touch.
And Bernadette, look, I might add in, look, the 10% is obviously refundable, 100% guaranteed and refunded if you're not happy with the app and you do not wish to continue, right? So that is 100% refundable. And also, as part of the package, you know, Bernadette will be providing, you know, tuition and education on how to write copy for apps and, you know, how to market your app and, you know, also how to write up, you know, great offers for your push notifications, because these are really key. What is the message that you want to get across to your customers? So Bernadette will be really helping you on all of these facets of the app.
And part of that, Dipen, is what I've seen is, you know, you go into a hairdresser for a cafe or whatever, and they have a sign up saying, download our app today. And my first thought internally is, well, why would I? You know, what's in it for me? Which gets back to this really basic question of marketing. What's in it for me? And for those of you who know me, and you've said on my webinars before, you're my clients, you know that's my first question. What's in it for me? So part of the effort to get your app downloaded by your market is to give them a good reason to do it. And once you've done that, create some great offers within the push notifications section so that you're really giving them something that's valuable, something that they really want, so that they want to keep a hold of your app, because they can delete you. So, you know, this is the sort of the secondary, you know, Dipen provides the technology and I'll be providing education and tuition on the copywriting and the marketing of it. So we like to think it's just a little bit of a package that helps you get started. I guess one of the questions we will wrap up is this a custom app? You know, I think if you're going to get a custom app, you're going to pay a lot more, and I think that's why people get a bit surprised at the affordability, to be honest, Dipen. I think this is really affordable, and most people think, well, I'm different. I've got a big organisation. How could what you do for me for that price actually work?
Absolutely. Look, where we are coming in from, like I said, look, we develop the functionality. Now, when we develop the functionality, and then we bunch all these functionalities together in some form, shape, or manner, or a combination of these functionalities in some form, shape, or manner, we believe that we can address 99.9% of most organizations' needs, right? Now, there can be other additional complicated needs that businesses do require, which, of course, is outside this pricing structure. But having said that, it's not that we do not do it. We do accommodate other additional development on that. So what I'm saying here is we believe that with the functionality set that we have, we do believe that we can provide most businesses with their key needs. Sometimes it's a very, very fine line, you know. businesses want to put a lot onto their app, and that's where the cost really blows out, right? If you make an app too heavy, then there's a lot of other problems that come along with it, the loading time, and a lot of other things come in. But getting back to what I was saying is we have built up functionalities to really cater for most organizations and businesses, no matter how large or small they are.
And I guess if people are interested, just a question comes through from Kathy, is if you're not sure if you're interested or you've got to speak to colleagues, that's fine too. Just click the box so that we know that there might be some interest, just so we can keep in touch with you. We don't want to be, sending you information that you don't want or need. So look, on that note, I'll say thank you, Dipin, for your amazing expertise and your clarity with which you explain these difficult concepts. I hope everybody's learnt something. We'll be giving you an FAQ answering these questions, and we'll be getting in touch with people who want to take it further to get the demo app. Thank you to Sarah and the team at Redback, who are always professional, always a delight to deal with. So thank you very much, everybody. And, yeah, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bernadette.